Okay.
Awesome. Hey guys, welcome to the Saturday morning show with Brad and Val. I'm the younger half of the of us. I think
Very good, Brad.
Val is the older and wiser half, but I'm catching up to him here. So welcome. Thanks for joining us, guys. We're going to be talking about mentorship. We hit on it last week. This is a topic I covered this week, actually. Did a brief interview with our senior pastor, talked about mentorship. He's got a life coach, so obviously there's some real value in it. I'm kind of amazed that so many people don't understand it, but I posed the question on one of the Facebook groups that I'm in on how important mentorship is, and was interesting because a couple people said, in essence, well, I've done pretty well so far, so I haven't really seen a need for it. And I just thought, well, okay, I didn't quantify that. I don't know where you're at financially, how your business is done and all that, but to me, that seems like you're leaving a lot on the table. You figured it out on your own, and you've done okay. So, yeah, I guess we could get through life without a mentor, but we're going to talk about that. It's always humorous example, but, you know, if you're going to go through a minefield, it's probably best to follow somebody who's been through there successfully. Okay, and that's kind of what we're talking about mentorship, is avoiding the mines. We're going to get into this a little bit. Val, I'm going to do a quick screen share because I might want to do a history on mentorship. But I think at least one of the more well-known books by Napoleon Hill talks about this. I have not read this book for a while, but Mastermind Alliance. You know, the mastermind principle consists of basically two or more people working in perfect harmony for the, and this is really hard to read, for the attainment of a common definite objective. Sorry about that. I guess I could try to blow that up. Sorry about that. Yeah, we lost it. Anyway, Napoleon Hill wrote a whole chapter in his book, Think and Grow Rich, about it. So the mastermind, Val, you know, two heads are better than one, right?
Yes, and you can magnify that. Excuse me. One of the things that we've been talking about lately is this idea of collective intelligence. And what happens when you get a group of people together that are assembled around a mission, and the power that that creates when there's alignment. You know, and I'll tell you that I am probably the most stubborn, independent, or rock-headed person on the planet. My wife would happily attest to that. Okay, as well as just about everybody that's ever known me. It's a well-known personality defect of mine. All right, admission. Right, there's a time when I started hearing about all of these things, and my response was this: not just like, what? It's all warm, fuzzy, kind of kumbaya kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I was so curious because the people that were sharing this information with me at the time. Now, I went to college until I was 30 years old. Never had a class in mentoring. Never, not really. You know, there was something about, well, you know, you need a master's degree mentor or something, you know, that kind of. But there was never any class on how to use mentoring to achieve your success. And I built businesses. I was on management teams of global companies. Okay, not bragging, just explaining that I never heard any of this stuff, and I was happily frustrated. I was dissatisfied with what I was seeing in the corporate environment, the kind of cultures that I saw there, the family structures that were created from there. And what I did was I was fortunate. I had somebody reach out to me. Brad, you've had that experience too.
Well, I first heard about this when I got in network marketing at age 31. I'd never heard about, talk about mastermind and all that. And I was like, what on earth is that? I had never heard about it. I went to college too, you know, got a degree in business administration. Never heard anything about mentoring. Never.
And somebody approached me and was, you know, sharing some ideas and some thoughts. And he said something to me. He said, talking about all these people that have made a lot of money, had tremendous success. And remember where my background was, corporate, sitting on boards of directors and things. And I just said to him, I said, can you introduce me to those people? And he said, sure. That was the start. And they talk different. They had different kinds of family relationships than in the corporate world. I mean, everything about these people was different. They were positive, they were excited. And that was the first time that I started hearing about the concept of positive mental attitude and success principles. And they started talking about mentoring.
Yeah.
And I don't want to dominate this totally, but I got a couple of things that I want to share here that I think are the things that really hit me right between the eyes. And that is one of the thoughts is that the reason why there is not more mentoring being practiced, apart from the fact that it's not taught, is the fact that the secret of mentoring is submission. And in our society, you just even mention the word submission and everybody throws up on their shoes and gets mad and grabs their knives and their battle axes and they're ready to go to war.
Well, and you think about it, you know, that goes against our grain. It's our egos. We always got to be our egos, especially the male ego. And I think especially in the corporate world, there's this idea of, you know, kind of dog eat dog. You got to get on top, and to submit to somebody, Val, is a sign of weakness. And unfortunately, that's not. We could take a rabbit trail on servant leadership, but servant leadership is not weakness. It is serving people, but you have to be submissive to do that. And that's not a popular term, at least in the business world, but probably in our culture as a whole.
I was in an auditorium full of people one time, and I listened to a gentleman that came into town from the East Coast talk about this and completely opened my eyes about this. He said, "You think power is in domination?" He said, "No, power is in submission." He said, "Look at it this way. During the Vietnam War, they had prisoners of war that were tortured for years, and would not give up information. Do you think you can force people to do anything? No, you can't. There are a certain number of people that will die before they will be forced to do something. So the power then becomes in their willingness to say, please teach me, and to be sub-mission under the mission. And I thought, I never heard that kind of an explanation before, that the power is having a group of people under a mission. And this is part of what you're always talking about, leadership. This idea that somebody brings a message, somebody brings an idea and shares it with people in a way that opens their mind. And now those people come, you know, by their own choice, come under the mission and choose to come together as a group to accomplish something that they probably couldn't do individually, or they definitely couldn't do as easily. And in that process, people then seek out a mentor, somebody through whose experience they can benefit, so they don't have to experience their own learning curve. So go ahead, share some more there.
I've got probably 3 or 4 questions I'm gonna state, and then I'm gonna read a little bit about it. It's a great article on 10 reasons why a mentor is a must. It was from Inc. magazine. But I think there are talking points, and Val, you can kind of interject with yours. Humorously, what you just said, I was thinking, you know, a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. Or you're the kid, you know, and your mom tells you to go to the room or whatever, sit down, you're sitting down, but you're standing up mentally. You know, and that's the same thing. But again, real true leadership is not about power. It's not about dominance. It's not about being authoritarian. We have this whole mindset and I would call it corporate America, and America with a K. I hate to say it, but there's this dominance, and that's totally counterproductive. Anyway, number 2 question here says, mentors can see where we need to improve, where we often cannot. Okay, and movie maker George Lucas kind of noted that. He said, mentors have a way of seeing more of our faults that we would like. You know, it's the only way we grow. He says they'll always be brutally honest with you and tell you exactly how it is, rather than downplay the weaknesses that they see in you. So mentors can see, you're getting a third party perspective on yourself. You know, where am I messing up, or where am I not connecting it? And that's kind of the key to mentorship, is being able to see areas that maybe we can't, because guys, we can't see everything on our own. You know, people that say that are absolutely foolish. So thoughts on that, Val?
There are 4 quadrants. Obviously, if there's quadrants, there's 4 of them. There
I
are
think my math, I'm
quadrants.
not good on math, but I think that makes sense.
You got that one? How many quarters in a dollar? Anyway,
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
One, if you take a square and divide it into 4 pieces, one corner is what you and I both know about me.
Mm-hmm.
Another corner is what I know about me and you don't know about me.
Mm-hmm.
Another corner is what I don't know about me, but you do know about me. And the fourth quarter there is what neither one of us know about me. Now, obviously, if I know something about myself, that's beneficial. But what about those things that I can't see about myself for whatever reason? It might be experience. It might be that I'm getting ready to go down a road that I've never been down before. It might be some personality thing. There are benefits to be able to develop a relationship with somebody so that they understand what your goals and objectives are.
Mm-hmm.
And then over the course of time, that person can help to mold you, to say, wait, there's a minefield coming up here. I've been down that road. I know there's a problem down there. Let me ask you some questions so that you can figure out a way of getting around that problem.
Mm-hmm.
Or somebody that you can come to and you can lay out your business structure. And you can say, look, we're really expanding into this area of this country or whatever. What do you see there as areas that we need to be thinking about? And I'm just like, one of the issues with this kind of a conversation is it tends to be kind of self-glorifying. And I'm always sensitive about that.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth of the matter, Brad, is that you and I are where we are because we have picked some really good mentors.
Mm-hmm.
Just the fact of it. And that's not to say that we are cult members. We are. Nope. This isn't about being a cult. This is about understanding how to connect with people and how to pick those members and how to do that. So that's part of what we're talking about today, right?
Yeah. You know, I see kind of it like the analogy of a coach on a football team or basketball team. A coach is there not to tell the players what to do so much, but to get the best out of them. Point out areas where they need to improve. They have different coaches in different areas, like on football. I'm thinking offense, defense, special teams, quarterbacks, all that. They're there to try to get the best out of the players. And I think really, in a sense, a good mentor is there to get the best out of the people that they are there to mentor. They're not there to break you down or tell you what to do, but hey, I think here's an area where you need to work on. Here's another area. I think if you adjust this, they're there to give you perspective.
Right.
That sometimes we can't see. We don't see that we're doing something, like I've got a face twitch, or I'm always, picking my nose on camera or something. And somebody says, hey, you might not want to do that. Oh, okay. I didn't notice I was doing it. So,
and I have, and I'm sure you have also have had mentors tell me some of those things. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I had a guy, his name was Ole Carlson, is a professional mentor. I paid a lot of money to Ole every month to be able to sit and spend a couple of hours with him every month, one-on-one. I was in a group setting with him where it was other business leaders, and we paid a lot of money to be in that group. And then we'd spend some time with him. So there's different ways that you can develop mentors. That's one of them. You can actually hire. But Ole, in one of our conversations one time, he said to me, he said, do you realize that you often refer to yourself in the third person? At the time, I would say things like, well, Val's the kind of person that does this. I mean, that sounds weird for me to say that right now, but apparently I was saying that a lot. It's kind of what you were talking about. And I said, no, I didn't really think about that. And he said, I'm just going to share with you that that's often a trait of somebody who is not trying to accept responsibility for what's happening. Right. So I'm not throwing that out there, whatever. I'm just saying this is sometimes the value of it. There's that thing of what your mentor can see in you that you didn't see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that pause, that created a situation where I had to step back and think about that and think, one, to undo that habit.
Mm-hmm.
Two, what was that something that was really happening in my life? And probably was at the time, like I said.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I thought that was a good point. Great point. There's an
Yeah.
illustration. So if somebody wants to pick a mentor, what do you think is the first part of that?
Well, I'm going to say good because we talked about this. I think you want to make sure that I think you have to have a certain amount of self-awareness. Okay. And that's a whole different trait, part of personal development, being aware of who you are. A lot of people aren't, and a whole nother topic. I see it on social media all the time. I wonder what the heck these people are doing. But self-awareness, but also I think your core values come into this. And if you don't have them, I think you need to take time to have self-awareness, figure out what are you about. Ashley Ricker did a great segment on this. I mean, super great on social media mastery about talking about understanding who you are. You got to understand who you are and what you're about. So that, and I'll just say, especially on social media, I'm deviating a bit here, but who are you on social media and who are you in person? I'm hoping those are the same, but I see people where you're kind of wondering, sometimes they're there, sometimes they're all over the place. So my point is, I think having core values really helps. I know what mine are. I'm just going to state them: authenticity, integrity, and leadership. So when I'm looking for a mentor, I want to make sure I find somebody that we align pretty well. We don't have to be perfect, but if I'm up here and you're down here in values, that's probably not going to work. You want to try to be aligned with somebody. They have similar values, belief system, and that too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just point out to everybody that there's not necessarily a right and wrong answer here. And, if Brad and I are going back and forth, it's not because one's correcting the other. There's different viewpoints on these things. And sometimes that has to do with perspectives. I've always felt like one of the primary things that you need to deal with before you start developing a mentor is to know, what do you want the outcome to be of whatever activity you're involved in. In other words, I had a guy come into my office one day. He's one of my employees. He came into my office and he sat down, and it's a great guy. And he came and he said, I've got a little bit of money saved up, and I'm wondering, what kind of stock should I buy? I'm thinking about maybe I should be in the stock market. What kind of stocks should I buy? And I looked at him and said, well, first off, I'm just incredibly honored that you would come in here and sit and ask me that question. But I just got to tell you, I know next to nothing about the stock market except that whatever I buy goes down, and when I get rid of it, it goes up. So I'm like that canary in the mine. My friends watch me and say, hey, what are you buying this week? Or what are you selling this week? Right. And I just let everybody know I'm not in the stock market. I'm not a disbeliever. I'm just saying that there's times and places, and right now I'm focused all of my energy, 110,000% on helping my teammates build global marketing teams.
Yeah.
But I said, you need to go find a subject matter expert on that. Right. So he knew what he wanted. He just didn't know how to pick the right guy.
Yeah.
He picked me because I had some success, but it wasn't in what he was doing. So
exactly.
know what you're doing. Okay. Know what you want the outcome to be, because that's going to determine who you're looking at for a mentor.
Yeah. And I think that kind of dovetailing into that, Val, is, oftentimes, mentors are trusted advisors. And I use this term for social media too, because I think we need to be a trusted advisor, meaning if somebody asks me for investment advice, I'm not going to give it. I say, yes, I'm in the market, but like you, I don't know this guy. I don't know his goals. So it's not up to me to tell him where to spend his money. He needs to find somebody that specializes in that. But I think part of finding a mentor is they're a trusted advisor. They will give you honest, as unbiased information as they can, but they'll tell you what they do and don't know. Okay. So somebody want to ask me about getting into Forex or Bitcoin or something. Hey, I'd probably say one, I don't recommend it, but I'm not an expert in that. So I'm not going to tell you to do something that I have no familiarity with. But being a trusted advisor there's kind of a confidentiality there too, that you can trust them, that if they say something tell them it's something in confidence, it's not going to be revealed, right? So I think that picking the right mentor, you need to have your core values so that those line up with your mentor, but also they should be a trusted advisor. Can you trust them? And can they trust you to be honest with them?
And what we were taught, and I'm just going to go down the list here real quick, okay, so we can just kind of get rid of that part of it. First off, they need to be a subject matter expert in whatever you are looking to gain advice or experience from. Back to my story, right? You know, don't ask a baseball coach to give you advice for your football team. You know, there might be something they can share in terms of a positive mental attitude or excitement or something, but they aren't going to be a subject matter expert. So you want somebody who knows the subject matter. Secondly, they have to have demonstrated their own success in creating what you're looking to create. Third, they need to have demonstrated the ability to help other people create what you're trying to create. Just because somebody's an expert on something and they can't teach it to somebody else, that might make me doubt whether I want to choose them for a mentor. Again, the ability to teach and communicate. Fourth, it's best, if possible, that the mentor that you are doing, that you are helping to, the person you're asking to be your mentor, actually has some interest in your success. Okay, that there's something that person gets from it. It could be just satisfaction. It could be they're part of your business group. It could be something.
Right.
Almost more importantly, you don't want to go to your competitor, let's say in a business, in a local market, and say, gee, you're really, really good at building houses. Will you teach me how to build houses? That person is sitting here saying, I don't really have a self-interest in helping this person compete with me.
Exactly.
So you know, again, picking your mentor. And the fifth thing that I would share there is, Brad, we're always telling people, aren't we? Dig your well before you're thirsty. Part of developing a mentoring relationship, and there's a little bit of a kind of a conflict here, because you may not always know where you're going to be in 2 years. That's part of why you're seeking a mentor, right? But as you go along and as you learn more, try to choose mentors that you're going to need that relationship to be in place 2 or 3 years ahead of where you actually are right now.
Yeah,
and
we were talking about this yesterday.
Yes, let's use our current situation as an example. Calvin Becerra, all right? Brad, you and I come from a mentoring system where we have been mentored by people like Calvin, who are among the best in the industry that have ever been. People that have created literally, you and I have been a part of a team that did $6 billion per year in business, and we learned from the people that did that. You and I don't need to be taught how to do basic things in this business. Our experience level is way beyond that, and we are showing that now in our business that we're building. And with all due respect to Calvin, he's just incredibly awesome. That's not why we came to hook into him, right? Is to learn how to explain a concept to somebody, or how to pick up a phone or something like that. But we realize that as we build our business, as we recreate what we've created before in this new environment, we need to know a little bit more about Jeunesse. Sometimes we need somebody in the background to help with that. And we definitely are going to need to have somebody in 1, 2, and 3 years that's going that already is on the ground in other nations. So this is just an example. Is that fair? Is that a fair example?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, mentor somebody who's, again, he's been down the minefield. We're not quite to the minefield yet. We've navigated through the rough terrain in that, but once we get to that minefield, we need somebody to help lead us through that, and he's definitely a guy to do that. So yeah.
The sixth part of that then is you need to be willing to prepare this relationship. You can't just typically, now you can hire a consultant or something for one particular question. Gee, how do I set up this computer system? Oh, that's easy. You bring in an IT guy, something like that. You pay somebody. That's a form of mentoring. But in most cases, to have a serious mentoring relationship, you want to give that relationship time for that person to really understand you deeply. Because here's something I'm going to tell everybody, okay? This is like dating. You don't really get to know the person on the first, second, and third date. You're still kind of breaking the ice. They have, I could use examples. They haven't seen you pick your nose yet or whatever, okay? Now, as that person gets to know you and peels the onion of who you are, they're going to help to discover those areas that you have hidden from yourself, the things that you have built facades, you've built images in front of that aren't you. And I guarantee you, every single person has compensating behaviors that they have developed over the years to deal with issues that they've brought with them from childhood. This is just part of being human.
Yes.
I've had them. You have. Every single human being has this. Some of those compensating behaviors are anti-productive. They're not just unproductive. They are going to create failure. And it takes time for that mentor to learn these things about you. Not about me, of course. Not me, but you, Brad.
Exactly.
So, Brad, how do you...
Well,
go ahead.
Here's what I want to say. Mentors offer encouragement and help keep us going. This is maybe one of the things we want to talk about. And I've just got to put a plug in for you, Val. You've been very helpful over the last year in mentoring me, but empowering me, getting me to be able to see that I could do more than I thought I could do, because I never had a lot of people believe in me my whole life, bosses, managers. I mean, I felt like I was stupid a lot of times. I felt like I was stupid in my last job because I never was empowered. You helped empower me. Adam and Ashley Reeker have helped empower me. Calvin Becerra has helped empower me. So mentors can offer encouragement and help keep us going. And I would hope, if as I'm a mentor to somebody, that's my goal. I want to encourage you to keep going, that you're better than you think you are. You have more capability than you think you do. We just need people to uplift us. We get in environments where, and I'll specifically say, because I can point back and say, these people that were part of my life were non-leaders. They were not leaders. They were managers maybe, but they were not very good leaders, and they certainly weren't servant leaders. Part of being a servant leader is, and I'll say as a mentor, is to help encourage and uplift and empower people, right? So thank you, Val, for your help thus far. Really, it goes a long way.
And I will tell you that one of the great joys of being a mentor is to understand that the person you are mentoring is not less than you are. I actually think that that's a key. I think that that's one of the keys. We've been talking about this from the side of the person who is choosing a mentor and being in submission, not submission as in a cult, but in being, willing to ask a question and listen to what the person's saying. You don't have to do what that mentor says. That's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
I'm talking about the ability to open your mind and say to yourself, I want to seriously hear what this person has to say. But where was I going with that, Brad? Now, everybody knows now that part of Brad's role in our friendship is to keep track of my brain, because it takes turns.
You talk about the mentor listening to the mentee listening to the mentor.
And on the part of the mentor, when you do have people coming to you, is to understand that you're not better than them. You just got a little bit of experience, but a significant part of being a mentor, my opinion, is also being a friend. And sometimes having that kind of a friend means that you give them the authority to tell you the hard things.
Yes.
It's not always about, Brad, you're great, you're awesome, you're good looking, you're amazing, go get them, buddy, slap you on the butt, rah, rah, rah. Sometimes it's that. We all need that. But sometimes it's that friend. A mentor can just be a friend. Doesn't have to be better than you, or in some cases even more experienced than you, but to be part of this group where that person can come to you and say, okay, let's sit down because I just got to kick your butt for a minute. Yeah?
Yeah, that's part of it. You're open to listening, and I'd say taking action on what the mentor is suggesting, because otherwise there's really no point in a mentor if you just want to hear somebody you think you know where you need to go. I'm just trying to find somebody to confirm what I already know. That's not a mentor relationship. You know, you don't need that person.
That's called confirmation bias.
Yeah, you're looking, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking. What do you think? Or what do I need to do? What do I need to change? Where do I need to grow? What experiences do I need to be so I can be this person here? And you're looking for honest advice. Again, that's the trusted advisor. That's making sure your values align, that the person you're choosing to be your mentor is something you can trust and respect. And I think that's a mutual thing too. But you're there to listen and then act upon what they say. Because if a mentor tells you to do something from their experience and you don't, you know, I think, one, you're kidding yourself, but you're wasting your mentor's time. So don't do that.
So another part of that process then that we talked about, we've been listing some qualities on the part of the mentee, the person being mentored, is the understanding that you're willing to accept, not necessarily act upon, but accept the potential criticism or advice that the person's giving you. But the other side of that is that you need to, part of your selection process, if you are someone looking to be mentored, part of your selection process is to seek someone who you feel has the communication style that allows you to hear the hard things that they need to tell you. And this, just being transparent here, this is a real problem for me. I am a very confident, I've been told bordering on arrogant person. I understand the subject matter. I am so convicted in my belief that it can be hard for somebody to tell me something I don't want to hear. Okay? But that doesn't mean that I don't know in the recesses of my rock-headed mind that I don't need to hear them. Okay? And I'm going to, you know, throw out one here, and that's Adam Reeker. Okay? I tend to like to talk to Ashley more, quite frankly, because Ashley doesn't beat me up so bad. But sometimes Adam will come to me and say, you know, hello, McFly, you know, if you've seen the movie, hello, you know, and the point here is that this is somebody who I have a deep affection for, who I have a respect for. We don't agree on everything. That's not it.
Yeah.
The point is that this guy, and you kind of need to have some of those people in your life. Okay? But the communication styles is, you know, and I'm not, the communication styles don't always work. But you know what? When we talk, he's the guy. He's one of the guys that'll knock me on the forehead and say, "Hey, McFly, here's something you need to think about. You're not going to want to hear this maybe, but you need to think about this one." And there have been some things that he has, you know, penetrated my thick skull. Though, you know, there's this inherent conflict. Sometimes that's okay to have a mentor, to have a friend who you don't always think with, but.
Well, that's good, because then you just end up developing groupthink. If we all think alike, we're all, you know, mutual admiration society, patting each other on the back, saying, "Hey, good job. Yeah, you're doing great. You're awesome." Then how do we learn? We don't learn. We don't grow because we're not challenged, right?
And when we initially understanding, I'm using self-example here so people can use this as an illustration. Okay. When I spent several years looking at all of these different companies and going through this process, this was one of the key things that I understood that we needed. We needed to have a mentor inside the company.
Right.
Somebody that we could, you know, that would allow us to get the things that we're going to need 2 and 3 years from now.
Yeah.
And we needed somebody who had a communication style that I felt, because, you know, I was the spearhead here, that could communicate to me the hard things in a way that I could hear.
Yeah.
And I'm not telling you anything I haven't told Calvin, but I told Calvin not too long ago, I said, he's one of the few people, I passed up people. I looked at certain people and I said, this person's awesome. I don't think their communication style is going to, having all of the experiences and having those other things is only good if their communication style is such that it can penetrate the brain.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was one of the reasons why we spent an hour talking to Calvin, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
With Adam and Ashley, and sitting and asking questions. And many of the questions I specifically asked him were not about the company and the compensation plan, things like that. I wanted to hear, what's his mentoring style? How does he communicate with people?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm using that now as an example with other folks, that as you're a mentor, talk to them, listen to their style. I happen to know another guy in a different company that most people have never heard of and wouldn't know. And he has been really fantastically successful. He is one of the more successful people in the industry. And I've learned some things from him. But his communication style and his personality, that guy, rubbed me so wrong that there's no way that I could put myself in submission to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? We've seen those. We know those guys.
Yep, absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit more about why mentoring. And can I roll down something here real quick? Do you have something else you want to add to that before I move on?
No, I just have one more observation. I'm kind of circling back to what we talked, but that's fine. Go ahead with your.
Okay, and this is going to open up some other lines. Okay, one of the important things that I think that people get out of this conversation is there is a hierarchy. There is a list of ways that we as people can become educated, how we can learn. Okay, one of those is school, like public education. And, you know, school, there's several different types of school, right? There's public education, private education, homeschool, right? And there are different purposes. This is not necessarily an either or. You got to pick one of the three. There's a blend here as a parent, perhaps, that you can use to educate your children. Okay. Another type of education is what we will call social media education. You can learn just about anything on YouTube. Now, you got to be sure that you're picking subject matter experts and not just listening to Larry the plumber talking about world economics. Okay, you got to have a little discernment here.
Yes.
But YouTube is fantastic. Khan Academy, amazing assembly of subject matter experts. How about TED Talks? Little 14, 15-minute talks by the subject matter experts of the world on just about everything. Now, what I'm describing here, and I want to make sure everybody understands, I am not denigrating teachers or education. I am not anti-education. I'm not anti-going to college. But you have to understand that when you go sit in a classroom, you are listening to someone almost for sure, that has a degree in education and a minor in math or biology or something like that, okay? With all due respect, love the work they do. They are not probably subject matter global experts in that particular subject.
Yeah.
So as you move through this education system, that education system is probably going to be teaching you how to be useful, how to take advantage of employment, to be, and the word employ means to use, how to put yourself in a position where you can be used by somebody.
Yeah.
But that's probably not going to create financial freedom, is it, Brad? You were talking about financial freedom recently.
No, I mean, when I think back to my experience mostly in college, you know, the best teachers or professors I had were people that actually had real life experience. The guy teaching finance worked in a bank. Guy teaching public relations had been a public relations director. Other in business, they'd had a business versus the teachers that you could tell never had a business. They're teaching theory and they have no idea beyond that what they're really talking about. I didn't learn as much from them, but the ones that actually had some real life experience that they could relate to what they're teaching related to me too. And I think that's the heart of mentorship is you have somebody, we're not just, you find a mentor because the guy has an encyclopedia of knowledge, but he or she, but they've never actually done what they're just going to spill out the encyclopedia of knowledge to you. I don't think would be very helpful.
Right.
So
exactly. So, this brings up another little stories. I had a friend, and her son is in college and he's quite brilliant, I guess, in IT, some kind of technology. And he was being recruited by one of the big companies, Google, Microsoft, somebody was recruiting him. I can't remember who the company was. I don't know if I ever heard, but he was being offered serious money, $250,000, $300,000 a year in salary, stock options, all kinds of, they wanted this kid. And what they were telling him is, you are going to be working on the team that's going to be developing what they will be teaching in the university 5 years from now. And she was freaked out. She couldn't believe she valued a degree, a diploma so much that she was encouraging him to pass up that opportunity to participate in mentoring. And I sat her down, I talked to her, I said, you got this all wrong. Anybody can get a degree or a diploma. He is being offered to be a mentee and to be part of a team to create collective intelligence on advancing technology. He might never have that kind of an opportunity again. You don't want to pass that up, because by the time he goes and spends the next few years in college getting his degree, they've already moved so far past where he's going to be. So I said, you need to cut him loose. So education, standard education, what we call social media education or internet education, but then there's mentoring. And I personally believe mentoring is the highest value education, because it's one-on-one from, if you pick them right, a subject matter expert that's going to help you succeed, to help you create your fortune. You get your standard education to be useful. If you want to create a fortune, my opinion, it's probably going to need to be mentoring. And I don't know, personally, I don't know of any, and I know a lot of really incredibly successful people, multi-millionaires, a number of billionaires that I personally know. I don't know any of them that did not use mentors.
There you go. What are they doing? I'm going to circle back around, because that relates to what you just said. Mentors have the experiences that you can learn from to prevent making the same mistakes beginners make. And I think of this as what they said, the best way to learn is, you're going to learn by making your mistakes, but if you can learn off of others' mistakes instead of you going through the same ones, that's a better way to learn it. So you can learn from a mentor, can help you avoid those minefields, those pits, whatever, by sharing with you experiences, their own experience, to get you around that.
Yeah.
And that's probably why billionaires or millionaires are millionaires, because they had people help them avoid those pitfalls that somebody that didn't would probably go through those and learn the hard way.
And the exciting thing about this is you can pick whoever's listening to this. You have the opportunity, you have the ability. I don't care where you are in the world today. Social media allows you to find mentors. And I'm going to tell a short story here. I'll try and make it real short.
Okay.
About 5 years ago, I was connected on Facebook with a 14-year-old, almost to turn 15-year-old boy in a very, very poor area of Uganda. Lives in the city of Kampala. And his name is Jonathan Solly, and I don't mind saying that. I don't think John would mind. And when I met John, I won't go through the whole story, but I mean, he was kind of rude at first, I mean, he'd say, you need to give me money, or you need to buy me a cell phone. I said, you can't talk to people like that. Well, why? He just didn't know, right?
Yeah.
He was in school doing really well in school, but he didn't have any mentoring. Just part of his background was he just didn't have that in his life. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we developed a relationship, and I don't think he set out with that purpose, but he used me as a mentor. And literally for 6 months, and you've heard me tell this story, every single day for 6 months, John would send me a message on Facebook and he would say, what is your plan for me? What work can I do? He's a 15-year-old kid going to school, working his way through school, because in order to get through school, he didn't have the money, so he had to work at the school to pay for it, helping to support his mom and his little brother by working on their little, little subsistence farm, and playing soccer on a national caliber level. He's played on the East Ugandan soccer team. And I'm telling you, you want to talk about life over there is soccer. They're what they call football. They've got like millions of good players. He's one of the best. So here's this kid, and at 15 years old, he is plugged into me from all the way around the world. So this is just an example. You can find mentors. If you reach out to people and you ask them, look, I'm trying to learn, would you be willing to spend some time with me and teach me? I don't know of very many successful people that would say no. They might put some qualification out. They might say, yes, I can give you this much time or whatever. But good mentors, successful people understand the value of having other smart, intelligent people on their team that want to be mentored, right?
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this today, you have the power. You're connected to us.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I also believe is that we have something more that we can offer people. Now, we're going to be a little self-serving here, you and I, Brad.
Yeah, well, that's right. It's our show. We can
do that.
Say what we want. We get paid big bucks for doing this too. So
exactly. I've had mentors that I paid a lot of money to, $1,000 a month or more, where I would sit with them and I would ask them a specific question about my industry. How am I going to do this? And I've had those people time and again tell me, I can't really answer that because I'm a generalist. I can answer, I can help you with general things, but I'm not a subject matter expert on your industry. Now, here's my point. In many, many industries, it's hard to find somebody that you can follow through that industry who has a path and a specific tool, an opportunity that you can use. And I was explaining this to somebody yesterday. One of the big differences here is that we have an opportunity.
Yes.
And we have a system.
Yes.
And we have a track record. Our system is a mentoring system.
Yes, it is.
So now when somebody comes here, they're not just getting, can I use a name? They're not just getting Tony Robbins, feel good and stay healthy, right? They're not just getting kumbaya, which they will get. They might also get a little kick your butt once in a while if they need it, if that relationship is there to allow us to do that. But they're also being given a specific tool and being offered, hey, if you want to create financial freedom, let us mentor you through that. And oh, by the way, you are going to add to our collective intelligence. Your experience, it's not like we are recruiting, we are looking for some seriously smart people. We've got some IT people that we're talking to right now, and I've said, you're an SEO expert. One of these guys is from Southeast Asia who has a company that does search engine optimization professionally. That's what they do for companies. I said, hey, you come on in here. We've got things to teach you. You've got things to teach us. This increases the collective intelligence.
Yes.
It makes everybody more powerful.
Yes,
and I think that this is one of the most important things that we can share to people is the ability to combine a mentoring, a collective mentoring. So that's the other kind of mentoring that we haven't really talked about too much is you've got individual mentoring. You've also got collective mentoring.
And the mastermind, we go back to what Napoleon Hill talked about, creating a mastermind that is a group of people that have combined their knowledge for the benefit of the group. We've got so many tools, so many resources to help people on so many levels that it's not just you're going to get in, you're going to have to blaze the path and figure your own way through the jungle. We can help you, but we've got so many different ways we can help people too.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. That is awesome.
Deacon Jerry says, hello from the South.
Hey, Jerry, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Amanda Reynolds says, hello, world. Amanda's in St. Louis. We've got
Amanda.
Prabin Ku just enrolled. He is a leader from India.
Awesome. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Yep. And Kathy Clark, our dear friend who we love with all our heart. She's here with us this morning.
Kathy. Kathy, welcome. Thanks for being here. You know, I think, Val, we gotta wrap up here, but you know, what other opportunity do you have where you can be mentored by people and our goal is to help you create financial freedom so that money is not the deciding factor in your decisions. We found out this week, and we haven't got our stimulus check yet. I believe we are. One of my daughters got hers, but my youngest had to get 2 new tires this week. So she went up to Les Schwab, and one of her tires was flat. She was able to drive the car up there. But the wait was so long, she told me, because they asked them, people that had got their stimulus checks were bringing their cars in to get them repaired. Tires, new tires, what have you. So does that tell you how tenuous people's financial positions are? They had to wait for that stimulus check to be able to take care of some work on their car. And that was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So people are hurting, you know, as you said, Val, dig your well before you need it, guys. I see so many people not capitalizing on the time right now. I don't want to go into a rant on this. I could, but there's so many people, they're just wasting time with this, waiting for COVID-19 situation to be over. Guys, if you're just waiting for it to be over, your life's, nothing's going to change when it gets back. You may not have your job even, or what have you. But if you're waiting for stuff to happen, you're not going to change your future. You need to be doing something now, being productive with your time and being forward thinking. And as Val said, dig your well before you need it. And that would be my plea and my earnest advice. If I can be as a mentor, start looking at how you're going to change your life now. So you're not just another victim. You're not somebody who's got to wait for a government subsidy check to come in so you can take care of basic stuff. Guys, we have an opportunity. We're here, open hands, right? Here we go, offering this to you, and we will help you to do it. I will help you. Val will help you. Adam and Ashley will help you. Calvin Becerra will help you to build this business.
If you're in Jerry Adams' team, Jerry Adams Jr.'s team, he's a fantastic mentor.
He knows what he's doing. Yeah,
absolutely. Here's the, you know, Brad, again, always a little sensitive about this. You know, you and I, for 12 months, have been telling people that this event was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
No, not the virus, but that there was some unforeseen, unexpected event that was going to happen around 2020 that was going to cause an economic setback.
It came quicker than anybody expected, not the way anybody expected, but boom, here we are.
Well, but my point is, it happened exactly as we said. We've been talking about this for a year. We've been talking about this for 2 or 3 years. I know business people that their whole business plan is put together with the idea that at the turn of every decade, there is always some unforeseen cataclysmic event that causes a economic recession, adjustment, whatever you want to call it. The economy goes down rapidly at the turn of every decade. Now, here I am. Okay, here's the message. This is going to happen again. It's happened every decade for the last 120 years. It would be insanely naive to assume it's not going to happen in 2030, maybe before then.
Yeah.
But every single decade, there's an adjustment. It's some part of the baked-in human psychology. I don't understand it. Human beings are the most bizarre creatures on the planet. The only bunch of creatures that have more strange herd mentality are lemmings and ants. Okay.
Yeah.
We take things as a group and we just run with them. And some of the stuff that's going around social media right now is just crazy. It's just, I read this stuff and I go, are you kidding me? But here's the point. take advantage of us, use us, benefit from all of this that we've created, so that in the next 10 years, you're building the economic solution for your family. And you are never going to have to go through this again. I guarantee you that people that have millions of dollars in the bank they're helping people, many of them, but they're not personally trying to figure out how they're going to make their house payment or how they're going to buy their car or put tires on their car. Now, I've got one more thing that I want to share here, and then I'm going to let you wrap up. For people who think that we are, that this is somehow mystical, that there's some magic thing about doing what we do, this simple process. And I shared this with Brad before. It came to my attention this week that on our team, we have a 10-year-old girl from a mountain village in Asia working on a broken phone with very, very poor internet connection that has found 3 business leaders in foreign countries. Now, everybody stop and think about that before somebody says, gee, I don't think I could do that. I think I'm too busy. I think I'm whatever. This is a 10-year-old little girl who's awesomely intelligent, obviously.
Apparently, yeah, I want to hire her, okay?
And I saw this. She through her mother's Facebook account, I just randomly started being pulled into 3-way conversations. And I asked Ems, my wife, I said, is Ruby Lynn doing recruiting or something? I'm being pulled in here. And she went and started doing some research. This girl's a family member, okay? She come to find out it's the 10-year-old daughter who saw what her aunt was doing. Look, if a 10-year-old girl can do this globally, reaching around the world, 2 serious business owners were pulled into conversations, and another guy who works for the government in India. Now, okay, this kind of takes away every excuse, doesn't it? So
pretty much.
So what I'm sharing with you here is just think. This has twisted my mind. Think about the fact that this 10 or 11-year-old girl, who's so sweet, she, by the time she's 15, might be completely financially independent. Now, how does that change our total perspective on what's possible financially in the world? And the one thing I told her is, do not let this interfere with your education, okay? Yeah. But she says, no, Tito, everybody in the Philippines, if she's my niece, no, Tito, I won't. But this is fun. This is fun. To her, she doesn't have the preconceptions of all the baggage that we get going through school. To her, this is fun. She says, it's like playing a video game. Think about this, folks. Please, Brad, wrap this up and take us home.
Guys, I just say the power of the social media. People do not understand this. People, businesses don't understand it. This little girl is getting it. I don't think she maybe understands it, but that's the power of social media, guys. That's what we've got here. And if you can leverage that, which is we're here to help you do this. Jerry Adams has got it going on. He knows how to do it. You need specific help on it, man, we'll tie you into Jerry Adams. He can help you. But that's the power that we have at our fingertips through technology. And if you can take advantage of that and leverage it, imagine what you can create. Financial freedom where your decisions are not driven by money. That's not a determining factor. You can do what you want when you want. Money, you don't have to decide, well, can I afford it or not? Guys, that's what's available here. So please reach out, ask us questions. If we can help you, please message us, reach out to us. We're here to help you and serve you, I think. So Val, thank you so much for
and whoever saw this, please, the person that invited you, ask them. Ask the person who invited you or shared this link to you to please introduce you to the team leader, so that you can have a conversation on how you, in the next few years, can create financial freedom. Brad, absolutely. I love you, buddy. Thank you so much.
Guys, have an awesome Saturday. Bye-bye.